Thank you. Dear President Boldis, dear Commissioner Kadri, ladies and gentlemen, mostly gentlemen, I think. The past 2 years have been the most turbulent and also unpredictable in the history of Europe's energy system. Almost 2 years ago, on the 23rd of February 2022, Ukraine disconnected from the Russian electricity grid. And only a couple of hours later, Russia launched its full-scale invasion of Ukraine. And 2 weeks later, Ukraine achieved complete synchronization with the continental European grid. The result was a success. It ensured the stability of Ukraine's electricity system and kept the lights on even during the darkest winter hours. And we are very grateful to you, the European TSOs, for this incredible achievement. And I also want to thank ENTSO-E to welcome the Ukrainian TSO, Ukrenergo, as its newest member. Welcoming Ukrenergo as a member underlines ENTSO-E's commitment to strengthen energy cooperation in Europe. Because indeed, interconnected grids are like a teamwork approach to energy, making sure everyone has what they need in the time they need, boosting solidarity and boosting Europe's energy independence. Grids are at the core of the energy system. Power generators, transmission and distribution lines, they all work together to deliver energy and prosperity to millions of consumers across Europe, 55 million households with offshore wind alone. Ladies and gentlemen, the climate energy transition was once born out of climate necessity, but it has become now an economic and a security imperative. And offshore wind stands at the forefront of the energy transition. It's a triple solution: to combat climate change, to bolster the European economy, and also to fortify European energy independence. It's no wonder that Europe's offshore ambitions are big. And the good news is, 2023 was the best year on record ever for new offshore wind installations in both the EU and across Europe as a whole. We built in Europe 4.2 gigawatts of offshore wind in 2023, up 40% compared to 2022. And 30 billion euros of new investments were confirmed. The supply chain is also seeing a turnaround, with new factories announced in Poland, in Denmark, Germany, the Netherlands and Spain. Small figures compared to what's in the ONDP. In April last year, I had the honor to welcome 9 North Sea countries at the North Sea Summit in Ostende, Belgium. And together we have set these ambitious combined targets for offshore wind: 120 gigawatt by 2030, and to double to this at least to 300 gigawatt by 2050. 2050 is tomorrow. Our ambitions in offshore wind are big, and so big that they currently exceed our plans in terms of grid infrastructure. We need to make sure that this European wind power arrives safely at our shores and in the homes of all Europeans. And that is why the Belgian presidency of the Council to the EU requested an opinion paper by the European Economic and Social Committee on cross-border energy infrastructure planning. And last Thursday, this opinion was presented at the ESC's plenary. Its conclusion is clear. Energy infrastructure cannot be treated like any other commodity. It must be classified as a service of general interest for the economy and the population. We need these trans-European infrastructures fast, and they need to be cost-efficient, secure, sustainable, and flexible. They need to be developed in a coordinated and a participatory manner with broad support on the ground. ENTSO-E's ONDP report that we will be discussing this afternoon is therefore crucial. Crucial as a guide on what to do, how much it might cost, and how to reduce costs and speed up the process. Let's approach this like engineers, and I don't doubt that we have many around the table. Set up the project, plan the work, find partners, and move forward. But not the engineers that we are today, the engineers that we used to be. We need to be engineers of the future. And here I'd like to quote Winston Churchill. He said on the 10th of December 1936, "Danger gathers upon our paths. We cannot afford, we have no right to look back. We must look forward. If you only look backwards to fix the way forward, you probably never reach your destination. Can we reach our destination if we look at all the projects on an individual basis, what the PCI framework actually does? Can we reach our destination if we use 10-year-old methodologies and models to assess the costs and benefits of the project? If we assume that the marginal pricing of electricity will trigger investments in capacity and flexibility? If we use 3-year-old data? If we limit the scope of the business model to the regulated or commercial partners that have to build and operate the infrastructure? We cannot fix the road towards a destination if we only look at the road behind us. We must look forward and adapt CBCA and CBS methodologies. The risk of anticipatory investments in infrastructure offshore and onshore must be embraced. And NRAs, our national regulatory authorities, must be mandated to allow this in order to ensure a net zero 2050. There are a lot of wise phrases in the EU Grid Action Plan, as well as in the comments from ENTSO-E upon it. And one strikes me particularly. The socio-economic welfare losses of delaying the network upgrades necessary to connect renewables and flexible demand will frequently outweigh the additional initial cost. Well, let's put some action to these words. Let's already set a big step in the development of guiding principles the Commission has to propose for identifying conditions under which anticipatory investments in grid projects should be granted. ENTSO-E will be crucial to provide the input. Let's also, at the same time, address some taboos in cost sharing and the place of landlocked countries, how they could or could not contribute in the financing of infrastructure needed to bring the electricity generated in our EU sea basins land inwards. Ladies and gentlemen, the time is now. It was a dream of a Europe without war that created a European community of coal and steel. Energy as an enabler of peace and prosperity. And once more today, we find ourselves facing the grim reality of war in Europe and the dire consequences of climate change. However, it's crucial to recognize that amid these challenging times, renewable energy and an interconnected Europe offer us rays of hope and the dream of a brighter future. Together, we can manage, that is my firm belief, but only if we look forward. Because as Winston Churchill said, if you look backward to fix the way forward, you probably never reach your destination. So I would suggest that we use the afternoon to look forward and not function as an echo chamber and talk to each other on all those things that we share, but try to tackle these concepts, these ideas, these regulatory frameworks that need to reach the destination as is described in the ONDP. Thank you.